All right, what's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Yeah, this seltzer water is kicking my butt, but I don't need that. So if you see you see the title, you will see the thumbnail about corporate Madam Misandry. So what you know what a madam is? You know, a lady that runs the brothel. You know, the pimp of the women, right? So what I'm talking about is how corporate America, you have women in corporate America who tell you that they're hardworking. You know, I'm hardworking, I'll bust my butt to get to this position, and I'm over here, I'm making six figures, and I'm blah, blah, blah. And then you couple that with, I can't find a man on my level. And this happens to be the majority of these high income earners are very attractive women or women who are physically well put together. And these women, they dress a little bit corporate slutty. You know, does the outfit have to be super tight? No. Do the boobs have to be out? No. Do they have to wear, things that a stripper might come out as a costume? No. No, they don't. But they do. Yet and still, they do. So when you hear some of these ladies are talking about these men, and y'all not putting two and two together, that a lot of these quote unquote high earning women who are go getters and hustlers, all their man haters who use sex as a way to get money. Like, you got women in real estate, right? It used to be just real estate, product services. What's happening, Paul? Product services or the medical equipment. You know, used to have these women that would come in with the briefcases with the rollers and a skirts on. You know, the business skirts with the top. You're like, I mean, she looked like she looked a little fine, but then you would keep seeing it over and over and over and over again. You know, come to this house, come to that house, and I'm working so hard, and it's like, think about it. When y'all look on social media and y'all see some of these ladies who are quote unquote killing it in business, do you see how the majority of them not only carry themselves, but how they video themselves? They're walking in, you getting a butt shot. You know, they're coming out with tights on, looking either like they're going to the gym, but they're in a corporate environment in a sense. You know, they're pseudo looking like, you know, yeah, I would love to hit that. And and they're telling you how, oh yeah, I'm handling business, and it never dawned on most of y'all that she's just a corporate madam. She's a woman who might have been with a baller, and she was around those circles, and she was with a baller because of her looks. That relationship fell out, and now she was actually in part of the business world because of the baller, and she found her niche using her looks. I learned, I got my certification, I learned, and I went to school for this, but they're not telling you the other part. They're madams and misandries. Nobody asked you, has spoken to people about this idea that why do you have a lot of these business women who are very attractive, they have a team full of quote unquote women go-getters. And the majority of those women are attractive women go-getters. It doesn't look like somebody's running a stable to you. It's happening, Ron. That's what that is. It's a corporate stable. You know what I'm saying? My name is Tada, and I got a team of stallions coming through, and we about to do some business. I've been checking my game, going city to city, state to state. Y'all don't peep this? You mean to tell me y'all haven't noticed this? So sometimes you're not taking people seriously when it's a part of men and women that don't take very attractive women serious when they're doing business, because it's like, are you actually doing business, or is part of your business a little shimmy and a little shake, a little let the chest hang low while I'm talking to you in the meeting? See, nobody asked about, we went through the whole Me Too movement, and there was a crop of older women who basically hit the wall of being corporate madams. It wasn't just casting couch type women. It wasn't. It was the women who, you're not as pretty as you used to be, so you got to go. And I said, wait. And they go, wait, that's sexism. But they didn't tell you that they used their sexuality, whether it was high key or low key, to get ahead of women who were actually more qualified than them. And at the same time, those women hate men. These women only want me because I'm here, because I'm pretty, because I'm a sexual object. And then, but how did you get hired? Did you get hired on your credentials, or were you in the interviewing process being sexy and provocative and going, getting your Sharon Stone on, and what is that? Is it lethal, fatal attraction? Crossing your legs with little to nothing on. Oh, we're not gonna talk about that part, right? And then you get some other women like yourself, and you go, we got a team now. We got a team now. I'm incorporating this with a few things, because when we get to male-female relationships, when people say they're killing it in corporate America, pretty much, Paul. Hey, I'm killing it in corporate America. But you don't think about it. They had this kind of poll with women talking about how, air conditioners are misogynistic, because when you go in corporate offices, the air is too low. But the air conditioning system was meant, it is the temperature it is normally because men are walking around in suits. And the women are cold because they're walking around in skirts, shirts that may show a little chest, and maybe in short sleeves. So really the guys are quote unquote overdressed for business, and the women are quote unquote underdressed. Shadow was popping. But that's quote unquote misogyny. And this idea of the pretty secretary, Poke Dog, thanks, fam. Thank you, fam. Like the pretty secretary, the pretty accountant, the pretty attorney, the pretty assistant. You're still trying to figure out what they do, right? Besides be pretty, right? Remember that movie, A Family That Prays, that Tyler Perry movie, when Sanaa Lathan was sleeping with the boss of the company, and she got pregnant by the boss while she was married to one. Her husband was a construction worker for the company, and the wife came in, and the mother came in, and they were like, "Oh yeah, they know all about the boss's quote unquote infidelities." But people never asked the question, even after that movie came out. You never thought about there were multiple women in the office like that? There was that scene with Sanaa Lathan and Robin Givens, where Robin Givens was like, "Women like you make women like me look bad." So you coming here getting up the corporate ladder on sexuality. So I'm coming up in here having to produce two different types of women. And see, nobody bats an eye. They bat an eye when they see the men doing inappropriate things with the women, but you don't bat an eye when the women are doing inappropriate things to get ahead. Yeah. I'm gonna get to that, Shadow. So you're asking. So a lot of these ladies are going to school to get their masters and their their bachelors and their masters, their PhD. But how often do you see, women on social media at work, cutting on uh, music and yeah, yeah. What you think? Who has time to do that? Do men have time to just have a dance routine ready to go while they're at work? You think that's what guys are doing? You think you can just go on Facebook and Instagram and you just gonna just always see, it's gonna be a new guy every week with a, no, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So why I'm saying corporate madams, like us, is because they're women recruiting women to do this. This is part of the women's empowerment movement that people don't want to talk about. You remember, if y'all don't, when Essence Festival, they would have the women's empowerment conference. And when they first started, they was having like the Atlanta housewives, the basketball wives, and people were like, "How are these women empowering?" Wait. This is kind of off. They just couldn't put their finger on it. The guys knew what was up. It's like, so basically, what you got is a bunch of groupies and thoughts and women who use rich men to get ahead, and y'all gonna empower other women by saying, "Do what I did." Get in a relationship with a power or a rich and powerful man, and then get around and say, "I was a victim." Girl, you also can date, marry, and get pregnant by a guy and come up with it was abusive and it was toxic, and I just want the world to know my experience. And if and if and if Bravo would give me a check every week to be with a bunch of women who use men for money, and they can tell these stories over and over and over again, and then wind up getting into it with other women and no men around over and over again. And the reason is because I dated this guy 5 years ago who was rich. Ladies, I'm going to show you how to do this. What do you think it is when you see some of these moms partying with their daughters? What do you think they're trying to do? You think they're just there because they're bad parents or because they're really just trying to relive their youth? No, they're trying to show them how they met the quote unquote ballers of their day. That's what that's about. That's exactly what that's about. So now, where's the misandry, the man hate? What do you think their empowerment and getting the bag is actually about? They are using their quote unquote hatred for men as a reason to pimp themselves out to men for money because they never wanted to have the same work ethic as men who got money. And then they'll say they're oppressed by that. That's what they're oppressed by. And now that they're oppressed by men, you know what I'm saying? Now we're going to have this big, bad issue. Big, bad issue. Big, big issue. And now you can recruit. Girl, these guys are going to be out here and they're going to try to, they're going to do you like Clarence Thomas. Oh, they're going to, they're going to do you like what? Bill Cosby. They're going to do you like, what is it? I was about to say Epstein, but it's not Epstein. Harvey Weinstein. Oh, they're gonna use you and abuse you. They're gonna try to pimp you. So you got to come in this building. You got to come ready for war. Using sex. And they won't take you serious if you're just coming in here as a little sex pot, but coming here as a corporate sex pot, where you're dangling the idea of sex around them. It's happening. I knew it was happening. You're dangling the idea of sex around him. So he can't necessarily reach out. And you can always throw a little flirt out here. Throw a little flirt out there. Throw a little bait out and see if he gets it. And if it's the right guy, you could use him to get up the ladder. If it's the wrong guy, you can say you were sexually harassed and you can move up the ladder. So either way it go, you can move up the ladder. But nobody has put two and two together about this whole conversation when people keep bringing up, the high value man thing. some of these ladies who have a problem with it, what their problem is, a lot of businessmen are blue pill men. See what I'm saying? So a lot of businessmen are suckers for these sexual tactics. But when you wind up going to business with quote unquote red pill men who like, I'm in for my money, I ain't got time to be playing these sexy games with you. Like, did the job get done? Did the deal get done or not? Then it becomes, what? Did the job get done or did the deal get made? That's all I want to know. That is all I want to know. Do I have to regroup? Do I have to make some phone calls? Do I have to, get new opportunities? What exactly is going on? And then you get that. You get a lot of women who went down that path. They couldn't hack it when it was just straight business. That's where you separate the real from the fake. Because there are a lot of women. There are women who are very highly attractive, but they get the job done. They get the job done. Period. But there are far more women who are attractive who don't. So all it is gossip. It's getting a group of women together, getting a bunch, working in numbers using sexuality and gossiping your way to a certain position. And then people go, well, that's not true. Okay. It's not, huh? You sure about that? Are you sure about that? Nurse and nerd, what's happening? Because I can show you plenty of situations where there were women who were grouped together and their job was basically using what they got to get what they want. And telling people, well, I've been in this business for 5, 10, 20 years. I'm sure you have, and I'm sure you know the ropes of that business, but think about it. If you put a man and a woman in the same room competing for the same job, what do you think an attractive woman is going to use? She's going to use her attention to detail and her sexuality. See, that's just part of corporate America. That's just part of business dealings in America now. You can't, a guy can't just make a deal and just have his imprint all in your face. That's just, we done, man. You're creeping me out. Same thing, like a guy can't, you think about the men in real estate can't just come up there, with tight pants on, trying, how can I say this? Giving you a glimpse of what it could possibly look like. And then you go, I'm gonna buy this house. Men you can't go selling supplies from one company to the next company doing that. You can't just meet up with the secretary at the desk and, rub her shoulders and she's like, we're gonna sign this contract. We're gonna just push this deal through for you. That's not how it goes. So why I'm bringing it up is because the fear isn't of meeting guys who are suckers. The fear is turning those suckers into guys who are not suckers anymore. That's what's going on. And then, like I brought up with the Me Too thing, for all the women who had a grievance, legitimately in Me Too, that's understandable. For all the women who had a grievance illegitimately, nobody asked the question, who's the next crop of women to come do this then? Because there's a crop of women who got pushed out. There's a crop of women trying to fight for their position that they're in right now. And then there's a crop of women coming up behind them. So guess what's going on? People aren't competing because of credentials. They're competing because of pretty faces and pretty bodies. Now, when I say madams, you have women who are mentors in business and mentors and madams in business. And what I mean by that is there are women out here who tell you how to handle business, and they also tell you which guys in business will fall for the flirty tactics to get a deal done. That those two things go hand in hand. You know, when you're talking, you can talk business with this guy, and if he's a little tough, just we'll just rub his thigh a little bit. Just lean over his shoulder while he's in the chair and speak softly in his ear while you over his shoulder a little bit. You know, have him look up at you, and he can look up at your chest a little bit. He gonna soften up, and he gonna mull over the deal. And the deal is, should I still be in business with you? Because you kind of fine. All right. And he comes in and how many times I can see you in a year? I mean, I got a chance. Maybe we can go out for dinner after this, go out for some shots to celebrate this great event. Maybe just maybe, you know, 2, 3 drinks in, we off, maybe just maybe, looking kind of fit in that dress. And then, oh, I gotta go. I'm sorry. I don't want to mess up the business relationship. And of course, some ladies go down that road where they cross the line from time to time to keep, to keep the business flowing. But we don't want to talk about that part, right? We just like, what? Oh yeah. So sometimes I have an issue. Exactly, fam. Like sometimes I have an issue when I hear certain particular types of ladies talk about how hard they work when I know exactly what they do for a living. Not just their profession, but their tactics in their profession. You get what I'm saying? I know exactly. I know you don't work hard. You work at making people who work hard. That's what you work at. If I can get the blood flowing down there, I could get him to sign some paperwork. But let's take this a little bit further. Where did this start? Where was this cultivated? It started in high school. It got cultivated in college. And it became the norm in the workplace. What do I mean by that? It was in high school, it started when the girls had a sob story for getting bad grades. And every now and then they will flirt with certain teachers. So maybe they get multiple opportunities to bump their C up to a B and they B up to an A because of their sob story. Or maybe they just flirt a little bit and they make the male teacher uncomfortable. And you're like, just whatever, you can just do whatever you listen. Yeah, just get it. Yeah. You take it over, take the test over again. Just some of those teachers might have went there with these students. That happens too. But then in college, it revved up a notch. Because see now, big classrooms, now you got to meet the teacher in the teacher's office. And now you're not a child no more as far as the legal aspects is. Now you're grown. So your teacher in high school could go to jail, but your professor can't. See what I'm saying? So you still do the crying, you still do the sob stories, and see, there's still a small network. There's a smaller network when you're in high school, and then there's another network when you're in college of what teacher's gonna let you get away with this. If you just which teachers might actually, you know, possibly you could bribe them with an advance or two. No, you got the regular girls on the campus. If you're a freshman, the sophomore, juniors, and seniors know who, or you could be in a sorority and you know who. You get what I'm saying? The same process happens with internships. The same process happens in hiring. Who's hiring who? How do you think this happens? It's a whole hustle. And then people go, no, that's not true. Okay. You ever met somebody who told you that they graduated, but you're trying to still figure out how because they're not that bright? And not one of those people who are book smart but don't have common sense, but one of those people that it seems like they don't even know the subject that they study. Man, Todd, man, thanks, fam. Hey, just hit me up, fam. Just hit me up. I'm here. I'm here. But thanks, fam. You know, you trying to figure it out. See, you laughing, nurse. You know what I'm saying? You trying. How did you graduate in that? That was your subject. You sure about that? What was that line in Armageddon when the guy said, we have such and such who we have such and the president's advisor on it. And he's like, yeah, I know the president's advisor. You shouldn't take you taking advice from a guy who got a C in astrophysics. See, when you listen to people who are in the same field and took the same classes, and you're like, hey, you sure that was you sure about that? You know it just happened. You know that person cried, cheated, begged, slept with, their way through these relationships. Not through the relationships, but through their schooling. So that same process, fake it till you make it. It's better to cheat than repeat. That got ramped up because money was on the line. So now nobody wants to go, you know what? No, it can't be that. You know how I know it's that for sure? Because women who like to play men to get ahead, you know who they hate the most? They hate doing business with other women. Because that throws off their whole business model. If a man says, you know what? Yeah, you know what? You're going to run point on this. Now the woman's like, so who am I going to be talking to? Are you going to be talking to Lorraine? Lorraine? Hermione's okay. And then it's one of those, oh, maybe this is a woman's empowerment moment, you know? Thanks, computer geek. I'm trying my thing, fam. You know? And it's a woman on woman's like, oh. So what's her angle now? See, she can't use sex, so what does she use? You're a woman, I'm a woman. We both don't like men. We want to prove these guys wrong because she knows she just can't come in there, tatas out, you know. Nurse and her, thank y'all. She knows she can't come in there with the like. I was climbing my lady, right? She was going to work, and I looked at her, and I was like, she's like, what are you looking at? I was like, so you got a corporate cat suit? And she's like, this is a romper. And I was like, nah, that's a cat suit. And she was like, no, it's not. And then she goes to work and she asks one of her coworkers, one of her good lady, one of her female friends at work. He says this is a corporate cat suit. And she looked at her, and she looked at her in it, and she looked at her wearing it. She's like, yeah, I can see that. So needless to say, she doesn't wear it to work anymore because she feels like that wasn't what I never thought it was a cat suit. I'm like, it's a cat suit, but I was thinking about this because there was also this clip. I watched Startup for one, and I looked at Startup and I realized there was only one person in Startup that there was only one woman that was using sex, and that was their secretary. That was it. Their secretary was the only person that they put there for sex. Everybody else had a skill. And then I started looking online, and I'm looking at people who quote unquote do business, and the vast majority of the ladies I know who are quote unquote entrepreneurs, whether that be real estate, whether that be supplies, whether that be medical, whether that be entrepreneurs in the sense of fitness, the vast majority of them, what do? They use sex as a calling card. They use their faces and bodies as a calling card. And then I started looking around and looking at more ladies. I'm like, yeah, I've been knowing people was doing it, but it didn't put two and two together in my head that, wait a minute, y'all This used to be underground. This didn't used to be overground. This used to be something you did in corporate buildings that you didn't put on social media. Now people are so bold with it, they put it on social media. I'm still trying to wrap my head up. Why did you do that? Why are you doing this? But I thought about it. It's marketing. You're marketing for other women. Hey, girl, you can come do this too. Hey, girl, come through and do this too. If you could do what I do, because now we're looking at looks and competition and fitness. And ladies, I don't think some of y'all realize this, but you know when y'all talk, some of y'all don't like the ranking system, right? Y'all don't like to be ranked, right? If you notice, the women who are doing quote unquote business, they have no problem playing to the ranking system. And they have no problem excluding you from ever being competition with them business wise. John, man, appreciate you, fam. Like they have no problem excluding you business wise because of your ranking. Like, we can't really use her because she ain't the type. You know, girl, we could teach you all this information, but we might need a few months to get you right, to get your body right, to get your dress right, so you can go into these buildings and be the best looking woman in the building, so you can get these guys' eyes, so you can get these guys to sign these contracts. See, you got to put her on a track. You got to put her on a stroll. Got to put her on a blade. You get what I'm saying? Like you got to get her out there. You're just a corporate madam. You know, kind of like the boss chick mantra, right? Kind of like I made fun of it recently, but when Cardi B had that breakdown in the car, you don't know what I had to do. I had to drag guys, and I had to rob them, and I had to use trannies to rape them, and I had to do a lot. That is the epitome of being a corporate Madam Misandry. She hated men, so she used her sexuality to put men in compromising positions using sex to rob them as a way for her to make money for an album. And this is the type of music these ladies make. Get them, use them, blah, 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 blah. Pimp them, blah, blah, trick them, blah, blah. That's what's going on with it. Ooh, I know you that day. Oh, snap. Oh, man, you got me right there. You got me right there. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let me see. He said, I mean, I ain't gonna say nothing. I ain't gonna say nothing. You know, Harambe, that used to be the number one business. I knew that because basically, I learned this years ago where you had a lot of ladies who dated. Dana, what's popping? Oh, I ain't saying you should feel sorry for it. I'm just saying, and thank you, Dana. You know, did you? Are we still going live? Matter of fact, Dana, you still wanted to do something this week? I'm off now until Tuesday. I go back to work on Wednesday. Next Wednesday. But I'm fed up with the idea that these people saying that they're out here working hard. I'm like, you're not. You're not. Like, stop acting like you sweating out here. The only time you working hard is when you throwing it back. Okay, cool. I'm down, Shug. I'm down. It's the only time you working hard is when you throwing it back. Maybe that froggy style if you got good legs, but that's it. That's it. You know. But this is where it goes a little bit too far, because the hatred of men is kind of weird to me, because it's not that men have the money. It's that all of this, I'm oppressed by men, and but at the same time, I'm using sex to get money out of men. But at the same time, I'm using a mutual women's hate for men to get a business deal out of a woman who works with or for men. It's like all of this is rooted in misandry. E, what's happening? I hope you're doing well too, E. You know, that this is where it goes like, oh, okay. So this idea that, you don't want to be in you don't want to be objectified. You don't want to be objectified, but for the bag, you will objectify yourself or your other sisters for the money. So it it ain't pimping if you ain't doing it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't pimping if you ain't doing it, but it's pimping if you're doing it. And nobody wants to address that. What was the guy's name? Was that Mike Pence, who he was always in a room with a bunch of witnesses? You know what I'm saying? He was always in a room with a bunch of witnesses, so women couldn't do something to him, and that makes, you know, Dana, I'm not listening to you right now. I'm giving up this time. Oh, I'm done with you. I'm done with you. Oh, but it winds up putting you in that spot where it's like, okay, so you think when you objectify yourself, you're playing this middle ground of, I hate men, but I'm using men, and men can't logically. How can I put this? It makes it look like you're not bringing good deals to men. So you know you're not bringing good deals, so you're bringing sex. So the women who are using sex as a weapon, it became an issue because the contract ain't good. The proposition isn't good because if you got a good deal, you got a good deal. If you got and sometimes people don't realize a good deal can cost more money on the front end and be a lifesaver on the back end. And some good deals cost less on the front end and the back end. But bad deals, they could be cheap on the front end and expensive on the back end, or just overly expensive on the front end. And it's like, yeah. So what do you do with the bad deals? I used to have, I ain't gonna talk about that. I ain't gonna say, I knew people in the streets, and people in the streets, I used to have conversations with them about the streets. And one of the issues was like, they'd be like, how did you know that? I'd be like, listen, you got to go to this plug, and if they give you good product, it moves fast. If they give you bad product, you just stuck with BS product, and now you got to figure out how to move it. And it might just sell your name. But at the end of the day, you got to sell it regardless because you got to make money. So for the guys, there ain't no, for those guys in the streets, there ain't no way to sell a bad product without any repercussions. For the ladies, there's a way to sell a bad product without repercussions, and that is the possibility of sex. So the part of the misandry that I can't wrap my head around is, if you notice this, like I said, it started high school to college to work in the streets, and it works into the family court. See, that becomes corporate matter misandry, because nobody ever thought about, if you go to the court, you're going to see predominantly women. The judge is going to be men, but pretty much everybody prior to the judge you're going to deal with is going to be predominantly females. So now, for how can I say this? The sisterhood will be the madam, and making sure all men suffer. They would be the people who are who taking out that deal. Y'all in this froggy style. I said, yeah, I hate y'all right now. So now, since since you got a good amount of women on the same team of we're all in this environment and we all don't like men for whatever reason, every guy we come in individually, it's not 1 versus 1, it's 1 versus 5, it's 1 versus 10, it's 1 versus 20. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna make sure her paperwork gets done fast. I'm gonna make sure his paperwork get done super slow. I'm gonna make his, if he has a lawyer, I'm gonna make his lawyer, man or woman, go through a lot of stuff. If she has a lawyer, I'm gonna make sure her lawyer is smooth, even if her lawyer makes mistakes. So it's like, oh, this is what we doing. Oh, and plenty of guys have seen this play out in court systems. Plenty of guys have seen this play out. And because we realize it from when we were in grade school, high school, and college, where the teachers had it out for us, just, we're trying to figure out what is the problem here? You're being crazy and you're rude and you can't raise your hand and I don't like your tone and you're making me uncomfortable. And it's like, oh man, we need to have an environment more conducive to making sure these ladies feel safe. I'm like, wait, so I got to go to detention to make y'all feel safe over something that ain't really a big deal? Oh, okay. This is a problem. So you see him, E. So it's stretched out to the family court. And then when brothers talk about hiring in corporate America, in our community, you hear brothers say, you might not get hired for a job if you see a sister there. Because if the old HR argument, we already know white people see our names and then it's like, next, And the irony, let me talk about the name game before I get to that part. The name game applies to black people in general, but it hits harder with guys. I'm gonna tell you what I mean. Because if you go in the corporate environment, you see women with the names of, when parents just give you just ridiculous names. What's your name? My name is Crown Royisha. What? Look, it's just call me Cece. Okay. All right, Cece. All right. Crown Royisha. That mama was a drunk. Like, it's that, right? But when you see, Jarquavius, Zartavius, and it's like, oh, that's a dude. No, absolutely gone. It's even sisters do the it's like, what? Avalonisha? Oh, I'm gonna look out for my sister. I know she didn't have a hard time with this name in life. Oh my God, but I'm sure she's qualified. I see she's went to these schools and blah blah blah. We need to diversify this situation because she's a double minority, being black and being a woman. And look at this name. Like, she'd never be employed if a sister like me wasn't here. And brothers hire people, but we weren't in those quote unquote HR positions. And nobody like, wait, that's why I get that job. And you start realizing it when you go to certain places and hey, how you doing, lady? How you doing, ma'am? This one. I'm like, wait, you really? I know you don't. You can't dislike me because I don't even know you. It's just your automatic dislike of men. So I'm part of your automatic dislike of men. And now because you're in a quote unquote corporate environment, you can't. Now it's really time to use Misandry to bludgeon us with your issues, right? The old quadruple minority, exactly. So now it's the Madam Misandry. Because as a guy, like, if I've told black men and black women and non-black men and women, hey, these places hiring, that place is hiring, because at work I could be on the move, so I could say my company is hiring, when another one's hiring, I'll tell you, hey, it's hiring. But for the years when I talk to women, women predominantly tell women job opportunities. They don't even tell their sons job opportunities. You see what I'm saying? Like if they, you're not gonna embarrass me. It's like, wait, what? But you'll get your daughter a job, but you won't get your son a job. And people go, and that's what mama about that. I hit this dog on camera, phones and stuff, but whatever. So now and I can't lie. I cannot lie. There are mothers now who kind of they don't even want their daughters hired in that same place because they feel like their daughter's work ethic is going to embarrass them now. So I think the getting your child hired thing is really coming to a head on both the men and the women, but it's still the same misandry though. It's like it's easier with the daughters than it is. Oh yeah, and by the way, this is all Edward Anderson's fault because we was going back and forth on the chat this morning. He sent me the how I get them, you know. So this is all Edward's fault, you know. If the sky comes crumbling down, I blame Edward. So it keeps happening. The I hate men misandry, keeps going on. Now, I will say this, and I'm gonna talk about this in a video maybe a week or two from now. The hatred of men and it comes from women saying they're oppressed by men, and the issue with that is modern day women are so subjective and they are so anti-man and anti-patriarchy and anything male. They really don't have any standards. They don't have any beauty standards. They don't have any financial standards. They don't have any character standards. They don't have any, any kind of actual. Women in general don't have any standards of anything. So I don't understand how you modern women think you're oppressed when you don't even have a standard for yourselves. All of your standards are subjective. Is but that's good, but that's for them, and 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 for me it's this. So everybody got a different standard. They got these are my truth standards. You get what I'm saying? So now it makes it look weird to have this hate for men, because it's like men aren't holding you to a standard, because men don't even know what your standard is of yourself. Because if we have a conversation with you, what what's the beauty standard? I don't know. Okay, what's the beauty standard per race? I don't know. I saw that with Obsidian talking to the poor black man, not Poor Man's Podcast, but Poor Black Man, I think, podcast. And he asked him what was the beauty standard. He went from it was Eurocentric to he don't know what the white woman's beauty standard is. And that became, and I know women are the same way. So the hate of men is just a built-in excuse to not actually put in work at this particular point. The only thing oppressing you is the standard of having a work ethic. Work ethic is oppressive now. So now it's like, oh, I get it. I get it. And what do they say? The oldest profession in the world is what? Prostitution. And which would also be actually one of the probably easiest professions, not that hard working, unless you're dealing with, them long swingers, every customer. But if you're dealing with long swingers and deep divers and, how can I say this? Guys who gonna take that 30 minutes and that hour to the fullest, you don't have a problem. Now, but if you get a bunch of 3.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes, give me 3.5 minutes, maybe even 4. Give me some of the rabbit pumps. You good. You're not really working that hard. You're not really working that hard. So personally, it looks like the misandry is these guys actually work hard. I hate these men because they work hard. You know what I'm saying? The same women say they don't. Yeah. It's crazy. That's crazy. So this is where we're at. Like it's corporate, it's a madam, it's a misandry. And then gotta take it there. You know what's one of the biggest shows of this? Before the election, get your booty to the poll. It was supposed to use sex as a calling card to get black men to vote for Joe Biden. Nobody ever thought, the guys were kind of were offended, like, what? But women were, yeah, sissing it up. You know what I'm saying? That made sense. It made sense. Yeah, it makes sense to get strippers to be on a pole. Yeah. You remember prior, like, was it after that or before that, when they had the Martin Luther King on Martin Luther King Day, when they had the twerker with the American flag shorts on, getting her New Orleans bounce on. This is what Martin Luther King stood for. What? Come on. No. Martin Luther King didn't actually die so you could twerk on Washington on a national holiday. But that's disrespectful. But a corporation thought it was a good idea because I'm pretty sure there was a bunch of women at a table like, yeah. Not just say the guys are stupid, but say the guys are only moved by sex. Which leads me to another thing. That was Black Lives Matter, if I'm not mistaken. What's going on, Ms. Muhammad? And it's like, well. Because when, ironically, let's dig into that part. Remember prior to that, Simone Sanders told Uncle Luke the Campbell, 2 Live Crew Luke, when he was making, I believe, political statements in the Miami Herald about politics. She told him, we don't want your unsolicited opinions. But then they turned around and had a 2 Live Crew-esque political video. You might as well keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. But I don't know. But the guys out here are hypersexual, they're toxic and abusive, blah blah blah. Take it one other step further. Black Lives Matter. You used the deaths of predominantly black men and boys, primarily. There are women involved, but primarily men. Turn right around, and who is the group that you wanted to make sure you wanted to create a corporation of activism? All the women came together and said, we're changing the nuclear family. We don't want men in leadership. And like, wait a minute. This sounds like a little bit of Madam Misandry. We got a pimp sitting at the table here, And what they mean is we don't want no straight men. Because remember, prior to them, there was a lot of straight black men who, out of Ferguson, out of Missouri, that were like the forefront of the Black Lives Matter quote. Most of them guys got killed, right? And then the women came on the back end, and I guess they trademarked it. And then we don't want no men. And then doubled down after they got the money and gave the vast majority of the money with it that from organizations that weren't affiliated with Black Lives Matter to the LGBT community. and not the families of the boys, men, and even the women who actually died because of somehow man hate. Somehow man hate. What's up, astronaut? What's poppin'? So now I got it's corporate. It's on. It's in the media. It's on television. Um, you remember when Kobe died? You remember what happened, right? Kobe died, and Gail King just had to. Dun, 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 dun. Lisa, I know he was your friend, but we're together to throw him under the bus. Come on. Guys like, wow. Oh, it's like that. Oprah still taking shots at Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson been dead 10 years. Still, like, is this Misandry? Because she would be like the madam of all madams, right? The madam of all successes, right? Nobody ever, and we keep having to bring this stuff up. It's like, oh. And nobody really bats an eye about this. I said it earlier. Nobody really says, this is dead wrong. This ain't just a little bit wrong. It's dead wrong. Because, and what makes it worse, especially in our community, you really don't see black men in corporate, black men are blue collar America. We're not really corporate America. So to have this misandry for black men in corporate America when most of black men are in blue collar America, it just makes you go, what are you saying to these people? Like so I had to run errands today. And by the way, errands are racist. Just run, when you got to run errands, I just want to tell you they're racist. Errands hate black men in particular. They do. So I stopped. I'm getting like some tires, so I gotta wait. So I go to this burger joint, black owned joint, dope sandwiches, craft burger, right? They're in Houston or outside of Houston, and this is white people at the table, and they're talking, and the guy says, there's a statistic that in the '90s you had a better chance, how can he say, you know, uh, um, you had a better chance of getting killed on the south side of Chicago than a what does he call that? A capital murder criminal. A guy who's about to catch the death penalty. So a person who catches the death penalty, is going to die slower than just a person living on the south side of Chicago. I didn't even say nothing because in my mind I'm like, I grew up on the west side of Chicago, so I'm thinking to myself, this is why we think white people crazy. But I just left it alone because I'm thinking to myself, like, bruh, what is the percentage of people who got the death penalty? Like, that ain't just the south side of Chicago. That's all of America. Like, what is it? 0.001% of people in America got the death penalty? Everybody got probably a better chance of getting killed on the south side of Chicago in a shooting or in a car wreck than people who got the death penalty. People who got the death penalty, 9 times out of 10, well, not 9 times out of 10 if you're black, but 9 times out of 10 if you're not black, you did something. You didn't already kill somebody. Of course you're going to get the death penalty. Like, it's stupid. But then I started thinking, why do I think wherever these fools work, there's probably some black lady there. It's like, yeah, that makes sense because Chicago's violent. It's like, no, it makes sense because it might be a few hundred people who got the damn death penalty in America at any given time. That's why it makes sense. Has nothing to do with the south side of Chicago. Like, you fucking idiots. But, the black position was the fault. Oh my God. The bait and switch. So I'm like, there's nobody to, like, in corporate America, we don't have any friends in America but we really don't have any friends in corporate America. And even with the ladies, you gotta throw in the feminist white woman dynamic also, like the feminist sisterhood. So, if it's not a black woman that's the madam, it might be a white woman that's the madam. You get what I'm saying? So, girl, we on the same team. Man, don't put us in environments that makes us uncomfortable. And I will say this other thing about it, and I'm gonna bounce. One of the reasons why people don't like black men in corporate America isn't just you don't want to get outdone by a black man in corporate America. It's the fact that it, the sexual insecurity of the non-black men and the women of all races comes out. So the misandry, the hate of us is one thing, but the idea, a lot of guys get in trouble with these sexual harassment things, but a lot of times we don't talk about they amp up the flirting with the guy to either get him bounced or because they can't quote unquote help themselves. And of course, he a black man, so he really can't say that. You just got here. You trying to just get your check and go home. But and people can use that against you, to your detriment at the end of the day. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I've been here like an hour, So thank y'all for rocking with me. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Yeah, they use the South Side of Chicago. They ain't. I don't. It's funny because white people are always on the South Side of Chicago when they're in Chicago. But they don't know it for some odd reason, whatever. But it's crazy. But like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one, y'all. Peace.